Peace to the Righteous Tongues podcast.
Yo, what's good, man? Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, it's the BX boy. I don't know if y'all heard about the Gucci situation, but apparently they had, I think, a sweater that resembled blackface or something to that effect. And of course, they did the regular PR stuff. They apologized. This doesn't represent us and all of that. But thankfully, in my opinion, some people are starting to speak up more. And they saying, no, we don't accept that. And they're basically calling for a boycott. I don't know if a boycott is necessarily the answer, but I'm glad to see people trying to take some kind of action and show that, y'all just can't keep just violating and disrespecting and there not be no kind of consequence. Waka Flocka, I think Russell Simmons, quite a few people. And it's not just Gucci. Prada, as Freaky Ty mentioned, a couple of others. So what y'all think about this, man? A lot of these companies, corporations just seem so tone deaf, especially in this day and age. You would think now, at least, people would be aware, there's certain moves we probably shouldn't make because it's probably going to be looked at differently, especially right now. So what y'all think about that, Freaky Ty and D.Bail?
I don't think they understand how important the black dollar is in the economy. You know what I mean?
They'll learn.
Shit like this, like we set the trend, we make things popping. So, like I said, there's multiple rappers and multiple people in our culture saying that they're not rocking Gucci anymore, that Gucci's canceled. But I mean, that's not really a hard protest because most of us can't afford Gucci anyway. So
that's true, but Gucci was always something I think that the hip hop community respected as something that when you attain some wealth, some kind of clout, you could have. You see a lot of some of the rappers with with the Gucci shirts, and it just is kind of a symbol of status, like, yo, I made it,
Even Big Soldier finally took off his Gucci headband, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I don't know, we'll see what happens in a month from now.
Come on, 2019, this blackface controversy, it's not the first time it's happened. Even dealing with the H&M situation with the young man that was modeling, and these are situations that have brought to light the cultural disappropriations that African Americans have had to face for over 100 years, man. This is not nothing that's new. People have been giving Gucci somewhat of a pass, saying, oh, they're an Italian company, they don't know about Jim Crow or segregation or the way that black people have been depicted with these cartoonish, coonish type vibes. They don't have a full understanding of it. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of their customers and a lot of their supporters and a lot of people that buy Gucci, they live in America. So just like they do research on their patrons to see what demographic is purchasing this amount of Gucci in this part of the country or this part of the world, I'm sure they have to do that type of extensive research on their customers. So I don't think that's a good excuse to give Gucci. It's unacceptable. And it's not going to stop until we put an end to it. I feel bad in a way because Dapper Dan, who is a trendsetter, a legendary designer in the black community representing Harlem, he recently was finally acknowledged by Gucci and given a high position within the Gucci company regarding designing and everything. So I feel kind of bad because he's getting put in this light right now where people are demanding a response from him because he is one of the only black people that we know of that works at Gucci. And we people are like, hey, Dapper Dan, you got to speak up, you got to make a comment. So it puts him in a very uncomfortable position. Possibly, I'm not sure, but it's unacceptable, Gucci.
Welcome to the Righteous Tongues podcast, where we speak fluent hip-hop. Hosted by FDT, the BX Boy and D.Bail. For more episodes, please visit grusselmedia.com. Peace.
Welcome to the Righteous Tongues podcast, where we speak fluent hip-hop with your host, FDT.
What up, world? We in here. Let's get it.
The BX Boy.
What's good, world? A lot of news once again. Let's get to it.
And I be your media art specialist, D.Bail. And welcome to the Righteous Tongues podcast. Once again, we speak fluent hip-hop right here on grusselmedia.com. Thank you to all the listeners and all the supporters that have checked this out on YouTube, youtube.com/GrusselMediaUSA. We appreciate all the subscriptions. Right now, we fighting to get to that 1,000 number. So we got about 834 in terms of subscribers. Once we get 1,000, we can turn up a little bit more. We definitely appreciate your time. Definitely appreciate you tuning in. We love the love. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, as the BX Boy always states, a lot to get into. And FTT, start us off, bruh. What we got in the news today, man?
All right, I know we're a little late with the topic, but all last week, 21 Savage was buzzing. Apparently, your man wasn't born in the U.S., but it's been documented, like his birth certificate even said that he wasn't born here. I don't really see what the big deal is if he wasn't born here. And on top of it, I think it's messed up that he's locked up right now for this situation, this whole being deported. Because at the end of the day, he's been locked up numerous times. Like, why now all of a sudden do they care? You know what I mean? It just looks really suspicious on our government. If he does get deported, I'm just trying to think, like, I really want to know what his accent sounds like. That's the biggest takeaway from this whole thing. Like, can he rap in a British accent? Because that would be dope. Like, I want to hear some British 21 Savage bars come out of this if that's the case. But other than that, man, I think it's messed up, man. They need to free the homie 21, man. But, yeah.
21 is just like you. I'm just surprised. I had no idea, man. I mean, that whole, I guess, British side, UK side of him, it definitely doesn't show through his music or his, I guess, his public image or whatever. I honestly thought he was from down south somewhere. I guess, like, maybe a lot of people did. It's crazy. But, I mean, I can't say that I'm that surprised with, who's in the White House and how big immigration and immigrants and things of that nature are. But, yeah, it's crazy.
Pretty much, to me, at 12 years old, going somewhere different, it's not like he lived a lavish life in the UK. We don't necessarily know how he lived, but we know he moved into an impoverished area of Atlanta. We know that at 12 or 13 years old, he was banned from his public school system for carrying guns. I don't think it really changes so much his persona. There's a lot of people that were immigrants that came to this country and got themselves involved in entertainment or criminal acts as well. I mean, it's less of a controversy than I think it should be in terms of people saying his whole public persona is fake. I mean, he moved here as a kid. It's not like he moved here as a grown man and adopted a gangster persona. He was known for turning up when he was a little kid from the moment he got here. I think it's an unfortunate situation for him in terms of the fact that he has seemed to have enlightened himself to a financial education, and he has committed himself to helping out young people of color or people that are in poverty in general, and acknowledging the fact that, hey, we don't have a lot of financial literacy that's being taught in our community. So I can appreciate that man's growth. In terms of you, FDT, saying it's a bit suspicious, yeah, I would have to agree, because he has been under the spotlight of the legal system before. This is not the first time that he's been there. So why all of a sudden now has it become a situation for his, somewhat illegal status or his visa being expired give the feds a reason just to get rid of him? However, on the flip side, I did hear that he was arrested with a loaded gun, and that his cousin that he was arrested with also had some illegal infractions going on. So, yeah, as also what the BX Boy said, with this current administration, can't really be surprised. I don't think anybody is going to be spared any type of leeway when it comes to this immigration system, especially if you're a person of color. So it's unfortunate, but here is the fortunate thing. When you got a guy like Jay-Z in your corner, you got advocates that are willing to spend financial resources to get you out of jail, get you legal representation. You're 100 times better off than that illegal immigrant that came over here that has no resources, can't even speak English, has no real education about the legal system here. So 21 Savage is in a better situation than most people that get caught up in those ICE sweeps, man. Next.
I totally agree.
20, there's a video of his mom in the interview, and she actually has a British accent. It's not like they were hiding this. You know what I mean? So
True.
Anybody is trying to fault 21 Savage or call him a fraud, this wasn't something that was hidden.
Okay.
Right.
No doubt, man.
Right, and And D.Bail, he mentioned, that he was apparently caught carrying guns. So, that plays into Donald Trump's whole, the immigrant and the criminality aspect. So
For sure.
it's a combustible combination. So hopefully it works out for him. Apparently they're saying that even if he does get deported, his money should be safe from, I guess, ICE or from whoever. So hopefully he'll, a situation will work out. And he'll be able to stay ultimately and be able to keep all his financial earnings. So,
Yeah.
Next.
Like I said, the one funny thing about our culture and hip hop is just in general. Anytime something happens, there's always going to be some fire memes, and 21 Savage definitely had some pretty good memes that came out during this tough time. Chris Brown actually posted a video of a meme that was 21 Savage back in 2016 Double XL Freshman Freestyles, and it was dubbed over with a British accent of a British rapper from the UK rapping over it. And Offset commented on his page and called him lame for posting it. And Chris Brown had some words for him. So now we got Chris Brown Offset beef going. And this is new to me. I just looked up that Chris Brown actually sent Cardi B some flowers.
Whoa.
Which is Offset's baby mom. So
that's his wife,
man. Think about that. Oh, his wife. Oh, yeah, I take that back. His wife. Yeah. D.Bail, what you think about that?
Well, I think that's disrespectful to send some flowers to that man's wife. Regardless of celebrity status, I think even in any regular civilian relationship, that's a very disrespectful act. There must be some history between Offset and Chris Brown that we really don't know about, because I can't understand why this thing would have just flipped out of control so fast.
They had issues before.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe that, the industry is starting to play a fool out of all of us. And these acts, as people have stated before, Chris Brown versus Soulja Boy never materialized. But what it does is it brings a lot of attention to both artists. And I can't see it being anything more than just a publicity stunt at this point. I'll be honest with you, because I don't see these guys linking up to actually throw hands. And if they're not going to throw hands publicly, I feel like their disagreement shouldn't be public. Like, it just shouldn't be there, I think that Offset, not to tell a man what he should do, but I'm just like, yo, it's a different generation, man. Because if I had an issue with somebody that I would consider to be a contemporary, like, we might not be friends, but we associates who work in the same field, I feel some type of way about something they doing, why not reach out to that man privately? Especially if I know where that man lives, I got his number, give him a heads up and say, yo, man, I don't think that's cool what you doing, whatever. And then, we can have those words behind the scenes. But, like, to draw the general public into it, where people going to just hype it up, it just seems disingenuous to me, man. So, I don't know, man. Have fun with it. Hopefully none of the entourage gets wrapped up to it, because that's usually what happens. The superstars talk a lot of smack, and then somebody from the entourage that got nothing to lose, or maybe more to lose than the actual artist, ends up doing something stupid, and then that person ends up going to jail. And then what happens 2 to 3 months later, or 1 to 2, 3 years later, the two artists will piece it up anyway, end up in the track and the video together, via similar to Drake and Meek Mill, and then everything is good, while the man's that stepped up to actually put the work in is still sitting in the cell rotting away, man. So I don't know, man. Y'all have a good time with that one. Next.
Wow. D.Bail was some conviction in that. I like that. But I actually feel very similar to the way he feels it. I feel that this is just, we're kind of being played for fools with this whole social media thing. Like, I really don't think anything is going to pop off from this. And if you even look at some of the back and forth that Offset and Chris Brown was having, I believe Offset even said, man, I ain't trying to engage, man. You police, or something like that. Basically calling Chris Brown, the police. So, they're not stupid enough to let some public thing get into really something physical. At least I don't think so. Chris Brown, he is a hothead, but come on, son. This is, to me, this is phony baloney. And and if they really did have a problem, they wouldn't be trading threats over Instagram or whatever. Because, the hip-hop police are out here, and you see they out here in force, man. They snatching up whoever they can for whatever reason. So, I mean, for them to be this stupid is possible, but I doubt it. And Offset, both of these brothers got so much to lose over this. What, a joke over, what, a 21 Savage meme or whatever? Really?
Right.
I mean, I know they had some issues in the past. I think at the 27 BET Awards or one of them type of award shows where they got into it. So I know there's no love lost there, but over this, man, take that to the park, man. Either shoot a fair one, away from the public eye, whatever. But all of this is just foolery. And then I think the people who are playing into this, they're being either witting fools or they just, it's just nonsense, man. And I think it'll fizzle out. But I do agree with what D.Bail says, that oftentimes it's the entourage, the guy who really, who puts himself on the line for these artists who end up piecing it out later and like, I didn't mean it, and, we was just, this and that, while that dude is rotting away in the prison cell, or God forbid, ends up in the grave.
Facts.
So this is just foolishness, man, and hopefully nothing comes out of it, and I don't think anything will. What you think about this, Vicky Ty?
Yeah, like I said, I feel it's interesting. Cloud chases at all time high. Like you said, if they really wanted to run a fade, these people can meet up. It's really not that hard. I don't know what's going on. Who has an album to sell? Who has a single to promote? But it's not that deep. Like I said, and then even 21 Savage, not 21 Savage, Offset even saying how memes aren't funny. I thought that was dumb as hell. But yeah, we got a lot of abuse going on. We got also Joe Budden in the game. Well, it's really the game. Game's coming at everybody for some reason. Apparently he's smashing everybody's wifey, but
dang,
he got an album to promote.
Yeah, he made some comments about Sin Santana, Joe Budden's kind of his wife or fiance.
Fiance, I believe.
Fiance,
yeah, fiance, I think.
Yeah. Joe Budden responded on his podcast and he said, it's corny. Like, why are you, you're more skilled of a rapper to be doing clout chasing type methods like this. You know what I mean? Like, this is old type game formula. You know what I mean? Like coming at people and bringing up
name dropping
and shit like that. Name dropping. Somebody like Joe Budden who's not even rapping anymore. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you're just doing this for what? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm over it. Game looks real corny. Doing this, 'cause he did this with Kanye not too long ago, talking about Kim Kardashian. Now he's doing it with Joe. So watch your girl around Game, man. That's all I can say.
Well, I mean, the way I see it, and it's interesting. I was watching Joe Budden's response on his podcast, and it's just interesting to me. I mean, and Joe and I think some of the other guys that was there was talking about it. It was saying, you too good a rapper to be doing it. And it was like, I understand that having skills and being nice is not really what's, I guess, in the current climate, but, like, what are you doing? I mean, like, aside from the shock value, attention that this might draw for a few days, I mean, all it's going to lead to is potential problems with somebody. It's really not going to boost your album more than likely. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, and I'm not saying he's lying on his dick or whatever. I'm sure he did whatever he said he did, but it's like, come on, son, it's lame, man. He has the mentality of like a 16-year-old in like a 40-year-old man's body. It's just ridiculous, man. People are married, they done moved on, they trying to make moves, and this dude is doing shit like this. But like I said, who knows if anything's gonna come out of it? I doubt a lyrical battle will spawn, because a couple of other people have come at Joe Budden and he hasn't really responded lyrically. So I think he does mean that he is retired, he is done. But I mean, could things get potentially physical if Game keeps, is running his mouth about, his fiance? Maybe. But like I said, man, I think this is just to grab attention, and I think it's a really weak effort to do so. And I also listened to Game's explanation for why he said what he said, and it didn't even really make any kind of sense. And then he was even mentioning like his own mother, and just it was just coonery foolery. It's just like you see where the culture and like things are moved in a general direction, how people are trying to be better, and then you got this guy. Just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say, man. It's just foolishness. And hopefully they don't pay him any attention. That's just my feelings on it. Next.
Yeah, well, I mean, they paying him some attention because, Joe Budden had an hour-long response to the situation. But I agree with what was said on the podcast. I feel like it's old news. Joe Budden seems like he's a bit above it now because he's not necessarily an artist. He keeps saying that he retired. So, as you just said, BX Boy, I don't really see a lyrical response to this. It is unfortunate that a rapper as talented as Game, or just rappers that are talented in the general sense of MCing as we have known and grown up on, cannot get the attention without the extraness of it. But to be fair, this is Game's niche. This is what he does. This is not like this is a new thing. So people really shouldn't be that surprised because Game is known for controversies, known for name dropping. So this isn't really too far off script from what he has been doing. The only difference is now he is that 38-year-old rapper that he talked about in the What Blood song. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's finally reached that age where he could be considered an old rapper. And it's not it's not a tasteful thing to come at somebody's wife like that. If he does produce this so-called tape that he says that he has, there could be legal repercussions behind that.
I forgot about that.
So I don't know if that's something that he wants to do. I don't know what his personal gripe is with Joe Budden's because, once again, this is an old beef that has resurfaced. If you remember, Joe Budden's had beef with G-Unit back in the day, stemmed off a DJ Clue track that also featured the late great Stack Bundles that the Game took offense to, and Game released a scathing diss, the Buttons joint.
I remember,
Joe Buttons came back and he hit back hard, and Game came back with a 9-minute track on one of the G-Unit Who Kid hosted mixtapes, and all of that really rose Game's stock because we really didn't see West Coast MCs that were willing to engage in battles like that. So that really raised the stock of the Game's career. And then at some point, they pieced it up once the Game disbanded from G-Unit. And the Game and Joe Budden even had a song together on one of Joe Budden's albums.
I was about to say they got a track together.
So, I mean, this is like, what could have happened, between that point where, the Game would feel the need to violate this man's fiance and baby mother like that. Like, that's pretty deep.
Joe Budden's popping right now.
Yeah, Joe Budden's is popping right now. True story. But
the funny thing, he's popping more as not as an artist, but as like a media guy. That's a
media outlet.
As a podcaster. Person. He's a media personality now. He has a number of different outlets that he represents. So, like I said, I enjoy Game's music. I always thought he was a talented artist. I share the sentiment that I feel like he shouldn't have to do this to get attention, but we don't know that man's situation. And if you don't have a lot of avenues to eat off of in terms of, let's say, not everybody's going to be a rapper turned podcaster, Some dudes are still dependent upon rap to eat, and if that's what they do to get their pockets right, it is what it is. That's a man that has to deal with the consequences of his actions, or maybe he won't have to deal with the consequences. I don't know, but I'll not cool with it, but I'll reserve judgment until I hear the whole entire track and the context of it.
I want to talk about the deal with Pusha T real quick.
Pusha D. Yeah, Pusha T signed the brand new Adidas deal in the millions. Allegedly, brand new Adidas deal. He will be doing some designing with Adidas. And if you give me 1 second here, I can give you the details of it. But this comes after his highly profiled beef with Canadian rap star Drake, in which Pusha T exposed that Drake had a child, and there was supposed to be some huge campaign behind Drake and his son with the Adidas line, and subsequently afterwards, I guess Drake disbanded from Adidas, and Pusha T moved into that spot. So here it goes. This is according to Billboard.com. The report goes on to say that the partnership between Pusha T and the apparel giant Adidas is a multi-year extension worth millions of dollars. Push and Adidas began working together in 2012, coming together for various collaborations over the years. The Good Music president will further his work with the EQT series, which is a part of Adidas line, where Push is said to have more creative freedom with the model going forward. Pusha T will also have more to say when it comes to product development with his name on it, as well as content to go along with propelling his creations. It is safe to say that Adidas has become the official footwear of Good Music, with Kanye West already serving as a face for the Three Stripes brand via his own Yeezy line. So salute to Pusha T, who has turned his beef with Drake into a very very big money windfall for him with Adidas, man. So hey,
he has, man. And that's big. And, the funny thing about Adidas is that they've been hip-hop for a long time. I mean, I'm sure y'all might remember, Run DMC with them way back in the 80s. Adidas, So they've been with the culture really since it's really taken off. So that's definitely big, man. And it's big for Pusha T, too, to not only come out of a beef with Drake and to have a lot of people feeling that you took the battle, but to also be able to score some successes in business as well. And the article you just mentioned, he's apparently been involved with them for a while, so they already had a partnership. But to continue and to expand, that's big. And it's interesting. Drake took a shot at Adidas, I believe, on one of his records. I'm forgetting the name of the record, but he's like, I rock with the check, not the I forget what the exact line is.
Checks over stripes.
Yeah.
Right. So, so that shows there might have been some kind of maybe internal changes or maybe something to do with Pusha T, but something happened where he went from pro Adidas to, I think I'll go back to sticking with Nike. So, yeah, man, that's big, man. That's big for Pusha T. I'm glad to see him really expanding outside of just rap. Because even though he could rap his ass off,
oh yeah.
What's gonna feed you is some of the stuff outside of the hip hop, connected to it, but outside of it. So that's big, man. And it's just another indicator.
I hope the sneaker designs are fire. I hope the designs look good. Hopefully they're not overpriced, looking like some crazy shit that, you know what I mean? You know how sneaker designs are nowadays. $800 for like Balenciagas, and they look terrible. So hopefully something really fashionable we all can wear, and hopefully they're affordable. Yeah.
I think as long as you remember your roots, I think that's not an issue. It's when these artists kind of get so far detached from where they came from, where it gets so crazy. But all in all, I think this deal is a good thing. It's big for Good Music, big for Pusha T, and I'm curious to see where it goes from here. And I'm also curious to see what Drake is gonna do with the sneaker companies, whether he's gonna go back to Nike or what's going on with Adidas. So. Time will tell.
Word.
Next.
All
right. Next topic. The biggest troll of the century. 6ix9ine might be actually in jail until he turns 69.
Well, he hasn't been sentenced yet. Not yet. Hold on, he hasn't been sentenced yet. But it's not looking good. No,
it's not looking good at all.
Yeah.
Man's out here telling, man. But like I said, it's no surprise. We all knew this was going to happen. We knew he was going to sing the moment he got in there. D.Bail, I know you had a lot to talk about on this topic, so I'm going to let you start off with it first.
Yeah, well, we knew, and but apparently there is a huge population of his supporters that act like they didn't know, and they still are in denial. And they even are making excuses for why he should have told, if that's exactly what he's done. We're gonna say allegedly, because we really don't know what
we really don't know the detail.
Yeah. All we know is that he pled guilty to 9 different accusations, and that he is no longer on the current indictment that includes the rest of his co-defendants. I want to just say that it's a very sad situation when you look at it. It's also a wake-up call for a lot of young people that followed his career, for also a lot of young people that believe that their actions on social media will not have any negative consequences. these are
Because it
definitely
will.
signs. Yeah, these are signs that these things are going to happen. And unfortunately, FDT and BX Boy, I think you're going to see more of a trend of this in hip hop. I have
I
my
agree.
eyes on a couple of current different groups right now, and I'm not going to put their names out there only because I don't want to add any additional
Oh, not to
heat.
cut you off real quick,
Yeah.
D-Bail, not to cut you off, but questions, what trend? The snitching trend, or just to continue to be foolish and advertise stupid shit on social media trend? Which one are you
I
talking
want to
about?
say the indictment trend, the feds keeping a close eye on hip hop and alleged criminal activities, mainly focusing on
Okay.
gang activities. I think that the feds are
Gotcha.
going to keep this on their radar. I think that you're going to see more indictments down the road. I don't have any particular knowledge about any, but I have my suspicions because
I agree.
I see the bigger picture with all of this. Unfortunately, this is my message for a lot of the young rappers that are coming out, especially in areas like Chicago and New York, where there are very stringent consequences for gang activity. Like, for instance, if you jump somebody and it's you and your homeboy and you're not involved with any gang, let's just say you were at the bar and you had too much to drink and you got into a physical confrontation, it might be a 3 to 5 for a regular assault. But when you're a part of a gang, and being a part of a gang, it can just be as identifiable as your social media bio, where you might put certain letters or you might, mention a certain block where the feds will
Symbols,
tie
yeah.
symbols. They'll literally tie you in as a part of a gang. Now that assault that happened that was a normal 3 to 5 charge, when they add gang assault to it, that's an extra 10 years on top of that. So now a regular 3 to 5 goes to a 10 to 15. So I can definitely see a lot of these young cats getting caught up just due to affiliations with these so-called gangs. Because if you look at 6ix9ine's situation, he met the 9 Trey Blood gangsters allegedly in 2017. So that means he had less than 2 years of a friendship or relationship with them. However, they were getting investigated since 2012. So that goes to show you, just being affiliated with this gang for even a couple of months could get you an indictment where you're facing a lifetime sentence. So I think that all of our young people need to be aware of what's happening. We need to find better ways to make our come-ups in the hood without associating with criminal gangs and criminal activities. And we just got to be careful of what we're putting our energy into and what we're putting out there for social media to see, because ultimately the same public that praises you will also be the same public that watches your downfall. And I think that's also the interesting thing on social media, seeing how many people were like riding with his negative energy, praising him as being the king of New York, are now the same people that are making funny memes about him, laughing at the fact that he's facing 47-year sentence. That's nothing to laugh about, but he dug his own grave and now he has to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Next on.
Wow. Once again, I really agree with what D.Bail is saying, man. It's wow, it's such a grim situation and a sad situation. And it's kind of one of them things where it's like a train wreck that you could see right before it happened. Like you keep saying, like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. To the point where you just got to throw up your hands and be like, I told you not to do that. And this guy was warned. Remember Fat Joe had him, I think, on his show. He said, yo, the way you moving, dog, you need to chill. He said, yeah, and kind of one ear out the other. Man, it's just such a sad situation. But at the same time, I can't feel but so much pity because, this dude was warned, and he attracted and invited that kind of negative, erratic energy around himself. He was out here wilding, he was telling people to, and all of this, and I want you to test my gangster and all of that. It's funny. Well, it's not funny, but I saw a meme that said, or a picture of him saying, I want you to test my gangster. And then there was another picture of the Fed saying, challenge accepted.
Oh, wow, man.
So, it's like,
dang.
Like, come on, son. Sometimes you get what you ask for out here, And in terms of him snitching, let me just say this. It's interesting. I was actually talking to some coworkers about this, and there was a few different opinions, but most of them lied in like they were basically saying this, like, look, if you're doing dirt with somebody and you benefiting or you part of the team or whatever it is, you don't snitch, period. But then somebody else was saying something to me. They were saying that, he fell out with these cats and that they were threatening his life and they were trying to kill him and potentially threatening his family. And they were saying that should you be as thick as thieves with someone who's plotting on you and your family. So, it's just interesting that there's a few schools of thought on this, when it comes to snitching. I don't really take a position either way, but I will say that it did appear that he appeared to be falling out with them. Like, I don't know how true or how serious the threat was on his life, allegedly, from people, I guess, in the from the gang he was with, but apparently they was plotting on his life, I don't know, his money or something. Something was going on. It wasn't all copacetic there. There was definitely some friction between him and who's the leader? Shotty, I believe that's his name.
Yeah.
So they weren't all good. So it's just a crazy situation, man. And it just shows you need to be careful who you get in bed with.
For real. And
because anytime you're involved with a gang like that, you're not dealing with a bunch of like nice dudes. These are shicey dudes, and they'll use you if they feel that they can. And if you appear to be like a come up or something they can eat off of, they'll do that.
Facts.
So it's just a sad situation all around, man. And like I said, man, apparently he's allegedly, we'll say allegedly because we don't have all the details. It appears he's diamond on the crew, and like I said, man, even if he gets the minimum amount of years, whatever that may end up being, I don't see him having a career that anyone would really respect, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe he'll be able to make pop hits or something, and that's assuming he gets out or anything like that. But I think in terms of his credibility is completely shot. It's just a wrap. I mean, even in this generation,
somebody's reality show, he's able to get out.
Snitching still means something bad, even by today's standards. Maybe not as much as before, but it's still bad. I believe even Snoop Dogg, I think, called him a snitch.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
It's kind of like damn, man. But I guess when your life is at stake, man, you really don't care what the outside world is saying. I guess you're gonna do what you feel you got to do for you and yours, your family. So, he's a sticky predicament, and not just him, but those dudes that he was running with too. And they're not getting the attention and the media publicity, but they going through it, man. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's just a sad end, and like D.Bail was saying, I think this is one in a long line of things to come. I really think they're cracking down on a lot of this gang activity within hip-hop, and especially in the major urban areas, New York, Chicago, L.A., I guess Detroit, wherever else, man. They're really trying to crack down on that and make an example out of people.
Facts.
And we'll see if rappers heed the message, be it how they carry themselves on social media, or just the reckless way some of them be acting, because, like I said, if you want your gangster tested, it ain't always going to be another rival gang to do it, It might be somebody else, and they have a pretty good conviction rate.
This is the Honorable Mention Report.
Well, listen up, man. The Righteous Tongues Podcast is proud to present a brand new segment that we will call Honorable Mention. Where FDT, the BX Boy, and myself, D.Bail, will just, shout out something that we feel like our listeners could appreciate. It might be a song, it might be a certain album, it could be something in the tech world, it could be something sports related, just something that we want to bring to y'all attention. And my honorable mention for the week is going to be the brand new Papoose joint. You know what I'm saying? FDT, shout out to you for sending this out, man. Numerical Slaughter, you know what I'm saying? It's a hot, crazy joint. If you remember Alphabetical Slaughter, Papoose used every single letter of the alphabet, to come up
and then
with,
spit it backwards.
Yeah, and then spit it backwards, you know what I'm saying? Just, different descriptions using the letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Y'all remember that? Well, now he's back, and courtesy of DJ Premier, legendary producer, he's doing it with numbers, you know, from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and so on and so forth. I mean, Papoose is the definition of what you call an MC. Like, for real, dude. Don't have to ever win a Grammy. Don't have to ever get a multi-platinum track. You are solidified in hip-hop history.
He is hip-hop.
You know that, man.
No doubt. Without question.
Righteous Tongues podcast gives Papoose the ultimate cosign.
Show that's honorable. That's my honorable man right there, man. You know what I'm saying? So check that joint out. It's on Papoose's YouTube page as well as the Instagram page. Check it out and show some support for the real, man. For real.
Alright, cool. I guess I get into my honorable mention. My honorable mention of the week would be, actually missed it because we've been out for a few weeks, but DreamDoll, female rapper, she dissed Tory Lanes in a song.
Yeah.
Previously name dropping her in a song to diss Don Q. Basically she went in on Homeboy, man, and my question to y'all is that, you know, the way the culture's set up now, one of her lines was that, you know, he was the only nigga that wanted to have a threesome with another nigga. Like, back in the day, something like that might end your career. Do you guys think this affects Tory Lane in any way? Is he finished, or do he still have a career after this?
I don't think so, man, because unless she actually has proof of that, you know what I'm saying? Like, she could just be saying that, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, he hasn't denied it.
And if that's the case, I don't think it's gonna hurt him. We live in a different world at this point, you know.
He's an R&B cat too, man.
True. He's also an R&B dude, so I think he's gonna get more of a pass. We're in a very accepting point of our culture, just overall. You know what I'm saying? We live in a very PC society where it's like to criticize people's lifestyles. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna get much room on that. You know what I'm saying? Because we're
it's not gonna fly so much.
Yeah, right. People are into whatever goes at this point. You know what I'm saying? So I think she would need like more hardcore proof than just to say it in order for people to be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Because we all know that when you disgruntled, especially in them kind of situations, if somebody had you know what I'm saying, more or less, people will say things because they're upset. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
That's
you know
true as well.
I don't care either way. Shout out to DreamDoll for that was a hard diss track, man, and I respect Shorty for that, straight up and down. So she got a right to say her piece, and Tory Lanes is sparring it out with everybody, man, and he's definitely shaking it up a little bit. So shout out to him too for just for bringing a little bit of static back to hip hop, man. It's always a good look.
No doubt about it. He definitely was bringing the heat. As for my topic, it's actually not a track. It's just actually some news about the Grammys. I don't know if y'all heard, but apparently Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and Childish Gambino, they all declined to perform at the Grammys. And I just wonder what y'all think about that. I mean, these are some of the biggest names in hip-hop, and yet, you know, the producer of the Grammys are reaching out to them, and they're like, nah, we're good. And just, I don't know if y'all know the history of the Grammys in hip-hop, but it hasn't been a very pleasant one. I mean, remember back in the day, I believe even the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, they boycotted because they didn't like the treatment they were getting. I believe they won an award, but they found out that when they were to go up to receive it, that part wasn't even be part of the telecast. It's like, you know what? Nah, we'll
televised.
You know, so I mean, what y'all think about that? Do y'all even think the Grammys even really matter that much anymore, or do you think we're just at a place?
They haven't mattered to me in years. Ever since Kendrick was robbed the first time from the Kid Man City and Macklemore one, I haven't cared since. I mean, I never really cared, but like I said, I've never really been for hip hop, more real hip hop in that case. Like I said, some of the greatest rappers of all time don't even have Grammys, so just goes to show. Whatever they like, whatever they rock with is what will get an award. Doesn't mean what we feel. So I could tell us about the Grammys.
Yeah, I agree.
But one other thing about the Grammys too that we forgot to talk about. I forgot. J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez is actually giving a tribute for the Motown special. Like that's kind of crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's big. That's definitely big. Wow, Interesting.
Like out of all these artists, they couldn't find anybody else. Not Jennifer Lopez. Like she's talented and all, but for her to represent Motown, like that's I don't really agree with that.
Yeah,
I don't know enough. I don't know the criteria behind it, but it's an interesting choice. Just hearing off the name alone. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I like J-Lo. I mean, I appreciate a lot of her talents, but I don't know vocally if she could hold a candle to any of those artists that, were staples of Motown. I mean, if she could prove me wrong. She can prove me wrong. I'll catch out the highlights because I haven't watched the Grammy Award in over a decade, to be honest with you. And I don't think they had that much impact on hip hop because, the credibility of the people that judge what's hot and their criteria, it doesn't match up to what we could appreciate or respect anyway. So I'm not upset at Drake and those other artists for not performing. Hopefully they realize the power of what we have. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to recognize ourselves and have people that actually have the credibility to judge the music to be able to award.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if
you don't listen to hip-hop,
if you don't understand the struggle of hip-hop, if you don't understand the essence of hip-hop, how can you effectively decide who and what to award for hip-hop? Like, I'm good on that. No, thank you. And
why do we need validation from them? You know, right. I mean, for people who don't get it, like,
exactly.
So what? So I'm actually very happy about this.
As FTT said, a lot of our most brilliant hip hop artists have never received a Grammy. Shout out to Nas, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need the Grammys validation. We good on that. We good.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Thank you for the heads up, though, BX boy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'll definitely always check for, the results of the Grammy Awards because it does hold some weight just in the overall industry and the fact that I'm a part of that business. I have to be aware of what's happening. But in terms of me having any anticipation on a personal level, nah, I'm good, son.
Nah, me too.
Like I said, the way our culture is set up, how how we're such trendsetters, I don't understand how the BET Awards isn't bigger.
True.
Like, the BET Awards should be the biggest award show.
Well, as long as it has black entertainment in the title, I think that'll always be something that I don't want to. Maybe a little bit of an inhibitor, somewhat, in terms of appealing to the masses. Somewhat, not completely, but I just maybe it doesn't sound as universal, because let's be honest, it's something that I think the average white or non-black person is gonna. Okay, this is something that's geared more towards black, African Americans, what have you. So I on some level I get it, but I just think that whole black entertainment thing that kind of already colors it for a lot of people going in. All right, well, this is probably what this is going to be. But yeah, with the leading role that hip hop plays and throughout the culture, in terms of setting trends and whatnot, you would think. But at the end of the day, man, I don't really think the validation of people who don't really get it and don't want to get it and probably never will doesn't even really matter. So I'm good with what Drake, Kendrick, and Childish Gambino were doing. Like I said, the respect needs to be generated from within. To me, that's much more important, and would mean a lot more to me. People who get it, who honor and respect with other artists like Papoose and Nas, and there's so many other talents that don't get the recognition for being truly great at their craft for doing. So that's my take on it.
Good point. And I think that BET conversation, that's a whole nother topic and within itself. So perhaps we can revisit that as a whole on a later episode.
Peace to the Righteous Tongues podcast.
Yo, we appreciate everybody that's taking the time out to check out the Righteous Tongues podcast today, where we speak fluent hip hop. You can catch us right here on YouTube, /Grussel Media USA. Tell a friend. We're also, of course, on GrusselMedia.com, and we're soon to be on other streaming platforms as well. And yeah, man, share and subscribe. Those are the 2 S's that we ask from you right there. You know what I'm saying? So we'll just go back around the cypher and give our final little shout outs for the evening. Don't
forget to like the page too.
Yeah, for sure, man. FDT is good.
Hey, man, like I said, appreciate another episode with my guys, man, my family. I love y'all, man, for real. But until next time, world, take care.
No doubt. The BX boy.
It's the BX boy in the place. Just want to thank once again the family for supporting, friends for supporting. I'm telling more and more people about it. Seems like more and more people are getting excited about it. We have a lot more to offer. Just keep getting better and better. So stick around and watch us grow. Peace.
Yeah, man. Stick around, watch us grow. You know what I'm saying? And don't forget, Industry Tuesdays every third Tuesday of the month at Mist Harlem on 116th Street. Put together by Illustrious Entertainment. You know what I'm saying? One of our sponsors and one of our co-partners here at Grussel Media. So we just want to say thanks to them for having us always featured on their virtual billboard. So whenever the artists perform, you will see the Righteous Tongues podcast billboard, as well as my personal podcast, The Convo, which will be coming back to airwaves very, very soon. So shout out to everybody for everything, man. Family and friends, we love y'all. And we'll be talking to y'all soon.
Please comment, like, subscribe and share the Righteous Tongues podcast. Thank you.